You have just experienced the reason why we are inside to start the service. We will be going out, but we couldn't imagine not having the full experience here in the sanctuary of the combined talents of Annette Gurney Hall and Nancy Carell, who played this morning, and they'll play also for the offertory. And they will be in concert in Fortuna on September 10th. So it's just such an extraordinary pleasure to have you here. And thank you so much for setting the spirit of this gathering this morning. So good morning to you all here in the sanctuary and at home on Zoom. And welcome to Humboldt's Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are very glad that everybody could be here. This is going to be a creative service because this is a Sunday service about the Sunday service. The Buddhists might even consider this an awareness practice because while we are experiencing elements of our usual Sunday service, we would call on you to notice how it is sitting with you and what your feelings and responses are to each part of it. And later on, when we have our discussion groups, we'll be asking you to reflect on that and to make suggestions. So as you sit here, take it in, but also be aware of the fact that each part of this service is here for some sort of reason. And maybe it'll be evident to you, and maybe you'll say, it just doesn't make sense. Do you really need that? And so we will, whatever we are doing here today, will inform our services going forward. So thank you all for being here. If this is one of your first times or is your first time here, we want you to know that this is an unusual service, even for us. Our services change frequently. We are Unitarian Universalists, and we call ourselves a living tradition. And so we draw on the wisdom of all faith and wisdom traditions, and also on the wisdom, imagination, and intuitions of the people who are gathered. And today that is going to be the source we're turning to. And you're welcome, if you're new, to just listen or to just participate in response to what you're experiencing or what you've known, or any of you have known in other congregations that come to mind, or even what you longed for to come here today for. So everyone will be helping to create our future. Currently here at our fellowship, we are lay-led, which means we don't have a professional minister, but always, even when we do, we share ministry. My name is Bonnie McGregor, and I'm the worship leader leading this service this morning, accompanied by Ann Kilby and our Amy Day, our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, and the worship leaders who will be facilitating the discussion groups here and on Zoom. And we are quietly but brilliantly assisted by our technical coordinator, Anna Bressers. So we thank you. It feels very good to be here with you all. And as I sound the bell, I would invite you to settle in and quiet your minds and open your hearts.
Good morning. As Bonnie mentioned, I'm Ann Kilby. I will open sacred space further from the bell by lighting the chalice. We light our chalice each Sunday or for each service. It symbolizes various things to various people, but altogether, it's our commitment to really living and to continuing together. I have these words to add to it. They're written by the Terma Collective. May our feet rest firmly on the ground. May our heads touch the sky. May we see clearly. May we have the capacity to listen. May we be free to touch. May our words be true. May our hearts and minds be open. May our hands be empty to fill the need. May our arms be open to others. May our gifts be revealed to us, so we may return that which has been given, completing the great circle.
Amy Day will now lead us in our doodle for all ages. We sometimes call it a story for all ages, but today it is, wait a minute, what? The aspiration. And when Anne came up, she said, "You forgot the weod." And I said, "It's coming later." So see, we've even trained ourselves that there are certain things that come at certain times and we notice when they get. So the aspiration.
We like to renew our aspiration each time. You will find it printed on the service, or there's a slide, right? Yes, thank you. May love be the spirit of this fellowship. May the search for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration.
Good morning. So yes, my name is Amy Day. If I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, I am the Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration here at the Fellowship. And today is our, I'm going to lead you through the sacred practice of doodling. So you may have gotten a little clipboard as you came in, if you would like to participate in the sacred act of doodling. If you didn't get one and you'd like one, maybe just give a little raised hand. Okay, I want to say too, if you're joining us on Zoom, you can do this at home too. So go grab a piece of scratch paper or two and a pencil, a pen, and everyone can kind of play along here. So let me get these distributed. And then I need two brave souls actually who want to come and join me over here. And all it asks is that you be willing to doodle in public, basically. So you don't have to be good at this. You just have to be willing to stand up and do some public doodling. So we have two spaces over here. I have a couple more clipboards. If anyone would like to join, I'll put those up here. Margie, come join us. Come doodle. Yay. See, this is what happens when our kids are still on their last week of summer vacation, is we get to be the youthful spirits in the room. So thank you for, for bringing in your youthful spirit. So if you want to grab some pens and then choose a canvas, if you will. And are we good? Is this a good setup-ish for Zoom, folks? Great. So as we're talking about how we come together to create meaning and beauty and sacred space, it's amazing because we all come with our own backgrounds, our own beliefs, our own creeds, and the ways that we experience those things. So I wanted to do just a little interactive activity just to play along with this idea of how we create meaning and beauty from our own individual and collective lenses. So if you have a clipboard and a pen and you want to play along, the first thing that I want to invite you, we're going to do this in about 30 seconds, draw a flower. And so we're all speaking right from a common language, Just a flower, any flower, the first thing that comes to mind. And again, you're not being graded. Thanks. So just whatever comes to mind when you hear the word flower. Okay. Some of these pens, well, and then, so there's the added challenge too of me giving you some bunk pens. So you got to really use your imaginal forces there. So let's take about 10 more seconds to get your flower on the page. Okay. Okay. So then I want to invite you to go ahead and hit pause on what you're doing. Take a look at your neighbor's flower. Do a little comparing of notes here. And if you're on Zoom, you can hold yours up even to the camera and just look, put on gallery view and see what kind of flowers are popping up. And notice what kind of similarities you see. If you want to look at Margie's flower, look at Anne's flower. And what do we see that's similar? What do we see that's different? Okay, so we took note of that. I want to give you another one. So the next one, so grab another piece of paper. We can kind of swoop these off here. Maybe not that gracefully. The next thing we're going to do is draw a tree. And again, so this is going to be informed by where you have experienced trees, whether you grew up with pine trees or redwoods or palm trees or skyscrapers. Just the first image that pops to your mind, tree. Just thinking too about this. This has to do a lot with just as how we craft and experience the sacred, how do we learn, right? Some of us are visual, some of us need to hear things, and some of us need to get our bodies involved. So this is for all our kinesthetic learners here today who want to get their fingers in on the action. So again, take about 10 more seconds to finish up your tree. We're not going for big, beautiful works of art here today. We're just kind of getting the broad strokes in. Once you have your tree, or some semblance of a tree, I want to invite you to hit pause and look to another neighbor, someone that you maybe didn't check in with last time. So this might involve getting up out of your seat, comparing notes. Again, you can take a look up here. Margie's representation of a tree, Anne's representation of a tree. Notice what's similar, what's different. We're going to do one more. And this last one is going to be potentially a little bit more complex, a little more abstract. And the last thing I want to invite you to doodle, thanks, Margie, is joy. So take 30 seconds. And again, this is not a right or wrong. I want you to access that part of you, your body and brain that is open and expansive, open to different ideas and images, symbols, joy. You could even do that thing where you close your eyes and just let your body kind of randomly dance on the paper with a pen. You could even put it in your left hand. I know that if you're a right dominant person like me, just let your subconscious right brain, right, do the work. Joy. What color is joy? What size? What texture? Can tell we're redwoods people. Joy looks a lot like trees, very green. So again, take about 10 more seconds, please, to doodle joy. And hopefully, if we've tapped into this sacred practice of doodling correctly, you get to experience a little bit of joy as you're doodling it. So go ahead, take away your pencil or your pen, and please find one more neighbor. And again, if you're on Zoom, you can go to gallery view and hold up your joy. Hopefully you're getting a little gallery. Look, go find some joy in the room. Maybe touch in with some joy with someone that you haven't, another artist, another sacred doodler. I want to thank Anne and Margie for coming up and being our sacred doodlers on display. I thank you all for participating in this little experiment with me. I just think as we look at this question of how we create meaning, how we create beauty, how we come together to co-create sacred space. We all come from these different places, right? We think of that story of the elephant, right? And there's the one man who's holding the tail, and he's like, this is the elephant, this is the elephant, it's like this. And the one has the ear, and this is the elephant. We all come to our felt sense of the sacred from these different places, and we all have these beautiful, unique, so I just wanted to emphasize, thank you for doing this with me, just as a way to kind of get in our bodies and reestablish ourselves with this. We come from different places, and yet we do find a way to craft common language, common story, common ritual that holds meaning to us. So thank you for bringing your ideas and your creativity and your sense of play to this today. And then if you want to sing me and Darby out, we're going to go have some kids time.
So as we said in our aspiration, one of the things that we aspire to do is to help one another in fellowship. And one of the ways that, and we do that in many ways, but often we hear about what our joys and concerns are in the Sunday morning service in this part that comes up now. And so what we do is come up and drop a pebble or write our joy or concern in the chat online, and come up and take our mask down and let each other know what is happening that would help to tell each other about, so that we're not alone in our feelings, whether they be joyful or they be difficult right now. And this is how we help one of the ways we help one another. And as we drop the pebble in the water, the ripples go out, and it symbolizes that the feelings go out to us and we receive them. So if also, I want you to know that for some people, coming up in front is a terrible experience, or it may be difficult physically. I know I'm getting to that place myself. So if it would be more comfortable for you to stay in your seat, but you'd still like to share something, I can bring the mic to you. I just need to know by you giving me a little hands up, okay? So if anybody has a joy or a concern or a sorrow to come up and share with them, please come and be brief. It's we want to have most of the service for our discussion. And one of the things that we've heard about with joys and concerns through the years is, oh, it can go on so long. And yet, when somebody is feeling something deeply, none of us want to stop it. So that's just where this awareness practice comes in. So please come and share with us now.
I'm Steve Davis. I'm the son of Ralph and Joanne Davis and the brother of Ruth Davis and the friend of Franna. And I happen to have a delightful owl here to make a lovely splash of joyful news. Franna has passed. quite some time ago. But her Lazy J Rants manufactured home had a free pile yesterday, of which I gleaned this lovely hat and lots of other ladies' hats or beautiful hats for your consideration. I brought them with me. So her loveliness and kindness lives on. And your kindness and showers of love for my dear sister Ruth and my delightful mother Joanne have been delightfully in a nice extension of time with extra professional mental health recoveries. I'll just say it that way. So keep those showers of love coming. Thank you, Tom Lewis, for your extra kindness to our family. Let's spread the joy of fellowship with more and still more wisdom, often beyond ourselves and our understanding. Thank you.
I'm Joanna, and yesterday Cooperation Humboldt had all these garden tours, and mine was one of the garden tours. And it's the second time. In 2019 they did it, and oh my God, then it was pre-COVID, and had about 100 people, and that just really fired me out. Oh my God. And then, but yesterday I probably had about 50 people, and that was very much more manageable. I met 50 wonderful people. I was able to explain everything I was doing in my yard and the troubles I had. It was just really wonderful day to spend with people and talk about gardening.
I'm Greg, and I have a sorrow, and that is we have way too many zucchini plants. So I brought zucchini, and I don't want to have to threaten you all, but I do not want to take it home. So there are 6 zucchinis out there. They're small. Please take one or all of them.
Good morning. I'm Chip Sharp. A pebble of gratitude for Santa Marina yesterday, helping to display the Black Lives Matter and Climate Action banner. A pebble of love and concern for David Lewis, Beverly Morgan Lewis's husband. The last I heard, he was in ICU with what Beverly called serious pneumonia. And that one is for Ursula. Ursula Osborne will be having a memorial for her this Saturday. I think in spirit, she's still with us here at Hoof. She objected to us pronouncing H-U-U-F as Huff. That's not Huff. Should be Hoof. So blessings from Ursula.
I don't know if the others of you have gotten this in the mail. It's from a Humboldt Senior Resource, and it is a Dementia Conference. And as a psychologist, I think it's important to note that dementia can be very simple, from just forgetfulness to Alzheimer's, the more serious event. But if you're experiencing the less serious event, there are things that you can do. And this conference may be that kind of help. It runs from October 12th to the 13th. And the only disappointment I have on it that it's so far away. But we're getting some of the value in it. In our family, we have a group of 3. And so we each have a role in that threesome. And we try to stick with that role. Sometimes some forgetfulness goes in there, as probably is happening with you. But Forgetfulness is not dementia, nor Alzheimer's. So you might want to know the difference so that you can be less alarmed when these disabilities happen to us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dylan Lewis. I'm new to the area, and I have joy that I can find enough pallets to make a dope floor in my place.
Hi, my name is Tom, and this pebble is for my amazing, adorable, talented granddaughter, Cora Rose, who's come into my life since I've been back here. And this pebble is also for her resilience as she goes through incredible changes for a 4-year-old.
Hello, my name is Anna, and I'm going to read all the joys and concerns from the folks on Zoom. Archie and Sue and Lee Mossman say, thinking of my sister Anna Mae, whose birthday would have been yesterday and who passed away 11 years ago after successfully living with metastatic liver cancer for 5 years. She's been a constant inspiration. Also, a happy birthday today to our son Matthew, and a happy anniversary to our son John and his wife Linda. Thank you, Annette and Nancy, for this morning's beautiful music. And healing thoughts for Helen Batcher, who says she has a touch of pneumonia and is on a course of antibiotics. Sylvia Shaw says, I express my gratitude for the many, many messages, well wishes during my lung surgery over the last 2 weeks. Archie, Sue, and Sue also say, continuing with healing energy for a good recovery for Sylvia Shaw. And Marshall has a joy. I've been asked to get a hiring packet from Sunnybray Middle School for lead custodian position. Yay, Marshall. And a concern that my family and I are still looking for a place to rent or live. Tiffany Hess says, I am joyful to be together today. And Debbie says, so much you can create and bake with Zooks. Rebecca Elder says, I am grateful for Zoom connections, today's service creators and organizers, and each of you. One more from Archie and Sue. All good thoughts for our daughter who is in the midst of dealing with diagnosis of possible serious conditions. And Debbie said that wasn't meant to be a joy. That's it for today. I'm going to drop one more stone just for all those joys and concerns that we keep in our heart that either we're not ready to share or aren't meant to be shared aloud. So just take a moment and let's sit with everything people have shared.
I am going to drop one more pebble of gratitude to the Broncos for coming this morning and setting up all the chairs. Not only are there chairs here, but outside in the canopies. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. So as many of you know, this summer we have been holding these 3 discussions about the future of worship, but it's also the future of how we meet our spiritual needs in this diverse congregation. And so today is the last discussion focused on, as I said, the Sunday service itself, which is traditionally the place where we experience a collective spiritual time together. But before we begin, I want to let you know that the Program and Worship Committee is not wanting just these times to be the only opportunity to give your input to the questions that we've asked over the last period of time. There are some people, including people close to me, who don't like getting together in a small group and sharing their thoughts. It's not comfortable to them. And I imagine there are others for whom that's true. And there are others who have been traveling or have made one, but not others. Or those of you who've gone, oh, I wish I'd said this, because you've thought about the question more. So our dear Anna has set up a link that will be made available on the website and also through the weekly, and Pat McCutcheon put it in an article that will go in the newsletter. And for those who read the newsletter online, it'll be a live link. And you can go in and go back to the questions and add things. And we have until September 10th. And then you can go to the concert afterwards. And then what we'll be doing is gathering all this, and the program and worship committee will go through and look for threads and trends and things like that, and write up a report, hopefully in time to get it to the newsletter for the October. And you'll be able to see that. And it'll also go to inform us as we create services going forward. And as you'll see in the questions, there are opportunities for you to look at something that you might want to be a part of. And so we will be breaking into our discussion groups now. You'll be assigned one online, and we will be, as we sing Spirit of Life, thank you. We will be going outside there'll be set up, circles set up already to talk about the questions for today. And as always, we will not, we will be taking notes, but we won't put your name to it unless you say, oh, I play the cello really beautifully and I could start a service for you, or, or anything that comes to your mind and imagination. Then we'll ask your permission to write that down. But otherwise, we won't put your name to anything you say. And we ask you not to share what anyone has said. You can share the content, but not ascribe a name for it. And that way we can really speak our truth without worrying about anybody's reactions. So we only have, we have about 20 minutes. This is where, we look at each piece of the service and go, they're all wonderful, but how long does the service get? And we want to talk together. So Annette will play, and as you keep your mask on until you get outside, as you feel comfortable. If you feel more comfortable keeping your mask on, keep your mask on. If you feel you really need to be liberated and you're far enough away and you feel comfortable not harming anyone, then you can take your mask off as you speak to each other, and then enjoy your time in your chat rooms. And I think that's what I have to say. So Annette will start with Spirit of Life, and the words are in your program. And so as you go outside, you can sit anywhere, leave one space for a Tom Lewis, would you? No, you're welcome to go sit where you want, but Tom, go sit in a place, and Anne is going to be a discussion leader here, and I will too. So just leave a space for me at one of the circles. You can go sit where you want. All right? Is that clear? Yeah. We will come back inside. I have my phone set for 5 after 12, and I'll let you all know, and we'll come back in for the end of the service. call us back into wholeness again here and at home. In my group, people talked about flexibility, so we did go over time. And as I said, we went a little over time. So of course, if any of you need to leave, you are free to do that. But we just have a couple of more parts, including getting to hear Annette and Nancy play again during the offertory. There, at one point, actually for many years, our services were an hour and a half. So we're invoking that spirit today. Yes. So I want to welcome you back and invite you now, whether you're at home or here, to just look out the windows and feel the floor, but through the floor to the earth below, and realize that this was the land of the tribal people who lived on these lands for 10,000 years. Here at Hoof, it was the Wiyot who actually used this land as a gathering place. They would come from their villages and gather here and camp overnight and get their trading items together. And before they would travel up the watershed here, up Jacoby Creek, sometimes over Neelan, names, old brain, over Neelan to the Van Duzer River, and even up there and over into the valley trading. So this was a gathering place. And you can imagine that as they gathered, they would see people they hadn't seen in a while and probably share ritual, who knows, together. But it's kind of wonderful that we come here to gather. This is not a residence. It wasn't for them and it isn't for us. But it's a wonderful tradition to carry on, along with the recognition and the acknowledgement that these lands were not ceded, which means they were taken, they were not given. And so as a congregation, in response to that, we give 1% of everything that we take in here at the fellowship through the offering baskets or your pledges, and we give it to the Wiyot tribe in recognition of their loss and our commitment to carry on the stewardship of this land. So as I pass the offering basket today, you can put something in, or you can use the Venmo on your order of service, or for those of you at home on your screen. As you sit back and listen and be appreciative of what we have and what we have to share with each other in recognition of the sustenance we give each other and the beautiful land on which we live.
Thank you seems a pale word after. Thank you, thank you. So we're coming to the close of our service now. Part of closing the service is to extinguish the chalice, which I'll do in a moment. We always want to emphasize that the real energy among us, home on Zoom, here, out in the community, that goes on and on and on and on. And we're grateful for that. And it's our custom, has been our custom, and we've added some along the way to say some blessing words that groups here and elsewhere in the world often use. So I'm going to say those, and then I'm going to read a short extinguishing passage here. Shalom, assalamu alaikum, amen, blessed be, ashe, aho, namaste. So this is two short poems by two different people. This is by Naomi Mattis. Let's use this moment to leap beyond our fear, landing upright on earth among the wildflowers. And this is by James Broughton. Forsake your devotion to predicament and discord. Break the tradition of rivalry and curse. Quick while there's time, uproot hostility. Claim your humanity. Insist on brotherhood and sisterhood. Open your fists into embraces. Open your arm's length into loving circles. Remove every roadblock to the peaceable kingdom. Outnumber the hawks. Outdistance the angels. And now as we conclude, Annette will play beautifully for us. Let us keep our connection lively.